The CEO Within: How New Year Rituals Curate Your Relational Capital the Corporate World Spent. December planning elaborate Q1 strategies in conference rooms that cost $400 per hour to rent. You spent it orchestrating 17 different emotional economies under one roof. And somehow, you're the one apologizing for not having a real career. Pause on that. While Fortune 500 companies hemorrhage billions on retention strategies, engagement consultants, and culture architects, you've been running the most resilient economic unit in modern history. The one place where loyalty isn't purchased through stock options, but cultivated through Tuesday night dinners and the way you remember how someone takes their coffee. The irony: you've been treating this like a liability. We're going to correct that today. The architecture of January New Year's resolutions are designed to fail because they're built on borrowed ambition. Someone else's definition of success, someone else's timeline, someone else's metrics. But here's what the lifestyle industrial complex won't tell you. The women who actually architect meaningful change in January aren't setting goals. They're curating systems. And the most sophisticated system available to you right now isn't in the App Store, it's in the relational infrastructure you've already built. Let me explain what I mean by relational capital because this is where most people misunderstand the assignment. Relational capital is not your Instagram following, your LinkedIn connections, how many people show up to your birthday party. Relational capital is the compounding value of trust, reciprocity, and emotional intelligence that you've deposited into specific relationships over time. It's the reason your sister calls you first when she needs counsel. It's why your neighbor trusts you with her children. It's the invisible currency that allows you to mobilize resources without touching a dollar. Corporate America calls this social capital and pays consultants six figures to manufacture it through team-building exercises and quarterly offsites. You've been building it for free every time you showed up with presents instead of presents. In January, this specific cultural moment when everyone is obsessed with reinvention is your highest leverage opportunity to architect the terms of how that capital compounds in the year ahead. Not by doing more, by curating what already exists. The sovereignty shift. There's a narrative that New Year's rituals are frivolous. Vision boards, manifestation journals, intention-setting ceremonies. The people who mock these practices are typically the same people who've never run an organization where the entire operation collapses if the operator takes a sick day. You're not setting intentions for vanity. You're establishing operational coherence for a multi-stakeholder entity that runs 24/7 with zero external funding. Let's reframe the ritual. When a CEO takes their executive team on a January retreat, it's called strategic planning. When they invest in a coach to clarify vision, it's leadership development. When they carve out time to audit relationships and reallocate resources, it's portfolio optimization. When you do the exact same thing, assess your relational landscape. Identify which connections drain versus compound, and intentionally design how you'll invest your attention in the 12 months ahead. It's dismissed as self-care. No, this is resource allocation. And if you're going to operate with the sophistication your role demands, you need to treat January not as a reset button, but as your annual board meeting with yourself. The relational audit, a new framework. Here's the framework I use, and it's deceptively simple. I call it the three-tier trust architecture. Tier 1, the inner circle: maximum trust, maximum investment. These are the relationships where vulnerability is safe and reciprocity is assumed. Your partner, your closest friends, perhaps one sibling, maybe a mentor. These relationships require the highest quality attention. Not the most time. Quality is not measured in hours, but the deepest presence. Your New Year ritual for Tier 1 is singular. Protect the sanctuary. This means auditing what erodes trust here. Resentment that's gone unspoken. Assumptions that replaced conversations. The slow drift that happens when you're too busy to be honest. January is when you name it. A single conversation can recalibrate a relationship that's been operating on autopilot for years. One woman I know schedules an annual State of Us dinner with her partner every January. No children, no phones. Just two people who run a household together, asking what's working, what's costing us, what do we need to renegotiate. That's not romantic. That's fiduciary responsibility. Visual: hands lighting a candle at a dining table set for two. Tier 2, the ecosystem: moderate trust, strategic investment. These are the relationships that make your life functional. The neighbor who picks up your kids in emergencies, the colleague who covers your shifts, the friend you see quarterly but who always picks up where you left off. These relationships don't need intensity. They need consistency. Your ritual here: identify the 3 people in this tier you've taken for granted, and make one high-value deposit before February. Not a text. Not a "we should get coffee sometime." A specific act of care that costs you attention. A handwritten note acknowledging something specific they did for you. A book you bought because it made you think of them. 15 minutes on the phone asking about the thing they mentioned 6 months ago that no one else remembered. This is how you fortify an ecosystem before you need it. Tier 3, the perimeter: low trust, minimal investment. These are transactional relationships. professional acquaintances, distant family, people you're kind to, but who are not granted access to your inner world. Most people spend January trying to fix or escape Tier 3 relationships. That's a resource leak. Your ritual here. Acceptance without escalation. You don't need to cut anyone off. You don't need to have a confrontation. You simply stop expecting Tier 1 intimacy from Tier 3 connections. And you stop feeling guilty about it. The most powerful word in your vocabulary is not no. It's oh. Oh, you think I should be doing that differently. Oh, you're upset I can't attend. Oh, neutrality is not cruelty. It's sovereignty. The ritual itself, designing your January protocol. Now, the infrastructure. Because intention, without architecture, is just anxiety. Here's what I do every January, and you can adapt this to your own operating style. The annual inventory 90 minutes. First week of January, block 90 minutes when the house is empty or asleep. This is non-negotiable. Take your Tier 1 relationships and ask, what did I assume this person knew that I never actually said? Where did I let fatigue replace presence? What one conversation would change the trajectory of this relationship this year? For Tier 2, ask, who showed up for me last year that I didn't properly acknowledge? Which relationships became one-sided, and is that sustainable? Who do I want to be closer to, and what specific action makes that possible? Write it down. Not typed, written. There's something about the analog commitment, the physical act of moving your hand across paper that bypasses the part of your brain that wants to optimize everything into oblivion. The relationship calendar, 30 minutes. Monthly, at the end of each month, I spend 30 minutes reviewing my relational investments. Not to judge myself, to notice patterns. Did I ghost my Tier 1 people because I was over-functioning in Tier 3? Did I say yes to things that drained my ecosystem reserves? Where did I operate from obligation instead of intention? This isn't therapy. This is performance review. The micro-deposit system, 5 minutes, daily, every day. I make one small relational deposit that costs me nothing but attention. A voice note instead of a text. Remembering to ask about the thing someone mentioned last week. Sending a photo that made me think of someone. 5 minutes. Compounded over 12 months. This is how you build an empire that doesn't require venture capital. The infrastructure investment now. Let's talk about the physical architecture that supports this, because you cannot curate relational capital from a state of chaos. I'm going to recommend one specific investment, and I want you to hear this not as consumption, but as capital expenditure for your domestic a high-quality journal and pen system. Not because it's aesthetic. Because it signals to your brain that the operator is now online. I use a leather journal that costs more than I'd like to admit, and a fountain pen that requires intention to use. Every January, I replace both. Why? Because when I sit down with that pen in my hand, my nervous system understands. This is not scrolling. This is not multitasking. This is the act of thinking at the frequency that builds dynasties. You can find versions of this at every price point. What matters is not the cost, it's the commitment to treating your strategic thinking as worthy of infrastructure. The same way a surgeon wouldn't operate with dull instruments. You don't architect your relational economy with whatever pen you found in the junk drawer. If focus is the constraint, consider noise-canceling headphones. Not for music, for silence. I use mine every morning before the house wakes up. 20 minutes of silence while I review my Tier 1 inventory. That 20 minutes is worth more than most people's entire morning routine, because I'm not consuming information. I'm consolidating wisdom I already have. The dynasty frame. Here's what they won't tell you in the productivity industrial complex. The noise in your house is not a distraction from your purpose, it is the purpose. Every executive I've ever studied talks about legacy. What they'll leave behind, how they'll be remembered. You're building that in real time, not in quarterly earnings reports. In the way your children learn to resolve conflict because they watched you do it with grace. In the way your partner learns emotional fluency because you refuse to let resentment calcify into silence. This is the work. And January is when you remember that. The women who understand this, who treat their relational landscape with the same rigor that a private equity firm treats a portfolio, are not just surviving the domestic economy. They're architecting dynasties that compound across generations. Not through money, through trust, through presence. Through the quiet decision, made every January, to curate what matters and release what doesn't. You are not just anything. You are the CEO of the only organization that actually matters. And the most powerful thing you can do this January is simple. Treat yourself like it. Start where you are, with the people already at your table. That's the empire. Mandatory disclaimer. This content is for educational and informational purposes only and does not replace consultation or assistance from a professional. Always consult a qualified professional for any questions related to finance, business, or investments.